Hi guys, welcome back. I promised in the last video I would do an overview and some tips and tricks with the TSK stock. For those of you unfamiliar, we have a TSK stock there. TSK are a company in Italy. They make stocks for shotguns. They make stocks for all different brands, but they actually work with Beretta to produce some stocks that are specific to a few of the Beretta models, this one being the 694 Pro. They offer a large amount of modularity. So why would you choose one of these in the first place? Because you've got a body size shape that isn't exactly suitable for just any random shotgun off the shelf, or you just want something that's more modular to you. There's normally two options for people that want to do that, or three really. The first option that most people take is they try lots and lots of different brands of gun. They eventually find something that really suits them, and they kind of have to pick the gun based on the one that offers the best fit. That's not ideal, because someone might have a preference for a really beautiful looking gun that they like and they admire, and then they can't buy it because it simply doesn't fit them. The next option would be to buy whichever gun you want and then have custom work done on it. So either to customize the existing stock, which a lot of people don't like to do because they've just paid a lot of money for a shotgun, then they're going to get someone to chop a piece of the stock off or to add bits on. It can look a bit tatty, and you know, it's going to be costly as well. Or you can actually get an entirely custom made stock, like Beretta for example. You can go there, you can have them make a stock for you. That's not going to be cheap. You're going to be there for a few days testing it out and getting modifications made to it so it's absolutely perfect. Is that the most desirable option? Obviously it is, but many people just can't get the time or the money to sort that out. You know, it is the sort of premium option, if you like. I hope to do that in the very near future. When I do, I'll make a video on it. There are videos out there of people having that done, and it looks like a fantastic experience. A couple of the other manufacturers do that as well. If you have a shotgun that isn't a Beretta, TSK do also offer these as aftermarket, so you can buy these for a number of different big brand shotguns and you can just fit it on yourself. So obviously the benefit is having the modularity with the ease of just ordering this as an aftermarket part or buying it on the gun to start with. So the first thing we should know is that this piece is available in a number of different sizes in palm swells. So if you're someone with very small or very large hands, you definitely want to check that out first before you order one, because the woodwork part is not cheap. You know, it's not something you're going to buy 3 different sizes of and try them out when they get there. They're way too expensive for that, so you definitely want to know which preference you have before ordering. And then we can see the rear section with all the adjustment on here. So first adjustment to note, we have obviously got an adjustable comb. I've already loosened these 2 Allens here, so this just comes straight off once they're loosened, and we can see the 2 posts beneath. The posts, you can stack these washers on top like so, and you would do the same the other side, and then you would put this back on. That would dictate your height. It comes with a number of different washers there, so you can basically find the height that suits you and then just screw it down. So it's always going to be sitting flush to those washers and it's not going to come loose, one would hope. Mine never has. Now there is a slight caveat to saying mine never has, because I did make the mistake originally of screwing on too high on the existing posts that came by default. They are 20mm posts. I've actually ordered now the 28mm posts, so they're about yay much higher. The 20mm posts were really too low for me, so I screwed right to the top of the post and the screw started slightly eating into the top end there and it started wobbling around a bit. So just be aware that the 20mm are quite low, and if you're someone like me that likes a slightly higher head position, then you're definitely going to want the 28mm. I think you can buy up to about 50mm. I mean, 50mm would be pretty crazy, but you know, everyone's got a different stance and a different head position, so they definitely offer you options with those posts. You can buy them either off TSK or you can buy them from Beretta. Another quick heads up is that the inner diameter of them is 12mm. On a standard Beretta shotgun, the posts are a lot thinner, and they're not going to fit. You know, these are a lot thicker than the standard Beretta posts if you've got an adjustable comb on your shotgun. So the spacers themselves are not interchangeable. Next thing to note is the length of pull adjustment, which is in this blue piece here, and you can see just some hash marks in there that actually tell you how much of a length of pull you've currently got. I've got that set on hash mark number 3. Whenever there's hash marks on any sort of firearm, shotgun, always take pictures or take notes to know exactly where they are, so that when you do take it apart, or if anything happens and you have to put it back together again, you're exactly where you were and where you were happy with. Because otherwise, believe me, I've done it before, you don't remember any of them, and then you're back to setting it all up again. And setting these things up can take quite a few days of making some tweaks, shooting them, adjusting again. It's a process, so you don't want to keep going back to that same process. Now, to change the length of pull on here, you're just going to loosen that piece there with the large Allen. You have 2 Allen tools that comes with it, this one here and the smaller one, which will become apparent in a second, and then this tube will pull straight out. One thing to note about this, one of the first misconceptions I heard about these stocks was that they are recoil reducers. Now, they do offer that as an option. You can buy a recoil reducing version, which actually has a sort of neoprene buffer that this pushes up against, and then this piece goes in and out every time the gun recoils. It doesn't affect the cheek piece, that doesn't move at all, but there's just a buffer action in there that absorbs some of the recoil. So if you're someone that doesn't like recoil and you're really bothered about that, take a look at the recoil reducing version. I know lots of people that have used them, including some very high standard shooters. They really like them. I don't personally suffer from major amounts of recoil. You know, I've shot some pretty big calibers for years and years, 50 cal, etc. So this seems pretty mild to me in comparison, and I shoot 24 gram loads. It's really not an issue for me. But if you did want that, they do offer that. The modularity of both of these is pretty much the same, and how you adjust it is pretty much the same. Everything I'm telling you here would still be relevant if you had the recoil reducing version. There would just be a couple more elements to this tube part. Inside there you can see we've got that silver disc and a rubber washer. That will actually drop straight out if we need it to, and it attaches to a screw which goes all the way through here and is accessed just in there. Now, if you place the smaller Allen in that hole, and just as a warning, it takes a lot of fiddling, you wiggle it about a bit because it's quite a snug fit. That then attaches to a screw which pushes that entire disc backwards and forwards. That is how you modify your length of pull. You would just turn that to increase length of pull, and then decrease it. You just push the tube back in, turn this again, the screw goes the other way, and that whole disc that we've just seen will go either further in or come further out. So very, very simple. In this piece here, that blue section you can see is a plate. The plate looks like so. That's one of the plates there, and you can buy different plates that will have different widths either at the top or the bottom. They will set the amount of drop that this has. You can either have it so it drops and slopes down more like a sporting variant, or that it's more in the horizontal plane. I've currently got this set with the trap plate in there, and when I get the comb back on I'll just show you what that gives. I thought that gave me a completely horizontal setup. It doesn't quite. So when we get the comb back on I'll demonstrate that. If you want to access this plate to change it, undo a screw there, and there's another screw behind those just in the top side. You undo that as well, both with this larger Allen. Then this whole piece comes off. You can then just change the plate over, put your new one in, and screw it all back up again. This has a slotted piece in the top side which will fit into a screw that just comes through there, and that's going to all buffer up against that rubber and the silver plate that we've just seen. So we now have our cone piece back on, and we get to the rear section of the stock. We can adjust any sort of cant to either side with these two screws here, again with the big Allen, and that will slip this round, angling either way. It is limited a certain amount. They've got quite a lot of marks on there to tell you where it's sat, but it won't actually travel that far. It stops just a few short of the end. We can also alter the angle there. You can see I've got it just angled in slightly because obviously I've got quite a large chest, and that gives me enough that I don't get any sort of muzzle flip when I'm shooting the gun and I'm getting recoil. It just sits nicely on the shoulder there. You can also alter the height of this up and down if you so wish. You just make adjustments on these screws back here. So pretty much everything is adjustable, as you can see. Very, very simple as well. There's no great complexity to making those adjustments. The complexity really comes in setting it up yourself. So I would suggest either going to someone who's got some proficiency in gun fit and getting this set up, and also just understand it's probably not going to be a sort of half an hour process. Once you've got it all sorted out, you want to just leave it. That's the other issue with things like this, is if you're someone who likes to fiddle, a bit like the adjustable rib I was discussing in the last video, if you're someone who can't help fiddling about, then obviously there's a lot of stuff to fiddle with here, and you could end up just adjusting it endlessly. Every time you have a bad shoot, you try and make an adjustment on the stock to see if it helps, and really you want to avoid doing that. You just want to leave everything exactly where it is. So what's not to like about this stock? You know, why would people not want to buy it? Well, it's Marmite in its aesthetic. I really like the look of them. I think they look cool, but I have heard from quite a few people, especially the older shooters, who really like their woodwork, you know, and they take great pride in that. They go for the more ornate looking guns with some high grade wood on it, that they just don't like the sort of metallic parts on this. That's understandable. And then there's the feel of it. You know, it does feel slightly different. Number one, it feels a little bit different when you put your face on it. And number two, when you hold it under your arm to kind of break the gun, it feels a little bit different as well. Obviously, you haven't got a big slab of wood under your arm. So some people have mentioned that and said that they didn't enjoy the feel of it. Other people, they're more of a sort of function over form type person. That's me, to be honest. I like something that gives uber function. If you're that kind of person that's into something that's just sort of science-based, that's giving you exactly what you want, then I thoroughly recommend this stock. If you're someone that really values beautiful, old-fashioned aesthetics, then this probably isn't for you. The only other negative I can possibly think of is that, of course, a wooden stock is going to absorb recoil a lot better than something metallic, and that is exactly why, if recoil is an issue for you, you would then use the recoil reducing version. I don't have any issue with this. I don't use the recoil reducing version. I've shot plenty of shotguns before, and this isn't particularly any worse than any of the other shotguns I've used. In fact, I would say it's a bit better. That may be due to the stellium technology that Beretta employ, and it's giving you a bit of a lower recoil impulse, but it's absolutely fine for me. I have no issue whatsoever. Guys, I hope that has given you a useful overview of this stock and how you might modify it for yourselves. Any questions, chuck them down in the comments. I'll chuck a link to TSK down there. I'll chuck a link to Beretta, the 694 shotgun we're looking at here as well, the Pro version. And if you've got any queries, anything at all, let me know. If I don't know the answer, I will ask one of the guys at Beretta and they will give me the answer, which I can then come back to you with. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. I'll catch you all next time.